Greetings. Today is Thursday, June 4th, 2026. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. Today I will provide an update on two low-pressure systems that we are monitoring in the eastern Pacific, which pose a threat to portions of western Central America and some states in southern Mexico. In addition, I will be discussing how the possible development of a Central American gyre could create favorable conditions for cyclonic development in the eastern Pacific. And although with lower probability, there is a possibility that we could see the development of a strong low-pressure system either in the western Caribbean Sea or in Gulf waters. In the first part of the video, I will talk about the rainfall totals expected during the next 7 to 10 days, particularly across portions of Central America and southern Mexico, where the risk of heavy rainfall and flooding continues to increase, especially beginning this weekend. If we look at the infrared satellite animation, we can see that there is a great deal of atmospheric instability across the eastern Pacific, and this has helped the formation of Tropical Storm Amanda, which will remain over the open waters of the Pacific and will open the door for the development of perhaps 2 additional cyclones, which, if they become tropical storms, would be named Tropical Storm Boris and Tropical Storm Cristina. This instability and favorable conditions for cyclonic development in the Pacific are mainly due to a favorable phase of the Madden-Julian Oscillation, which promotes instability, showers, and low-pressure systems across portions of Mexico and Central America. And as is typical early in the season, a Central American circulation may form, which we know as the Central American Gyre. This type of atmospheric phenomenon creates conditions of significant instability and intense rainfall across Central America, Mexico, and the western Caribbean Sea. Historically, we have seen significant flooding events. The projected circulation is evident in this image from the latest run of the American model, and in particular, this possible Central American Gyre will produce a flow of moisture originating from the Pacific, affecting portions of western Central America, especially western Nicaragua, southern Honduras, El Salvador, southern Guatemala, and portions of Chiapas and Oaxaca. Meanwhile, on the other hand, it may create a flow of moisture originating from the western Caribbean Sea that could bring substantial rainfall to the Yucatan Peninsula, Cuba, Jamaica, or even portions of the state of Florida. To give you an idea of the rainfall expected during the coming days, take a look at the accumulated rainfall forecast according to the American model. In particular, heavy rain should begin across portions of Central America between Saturday and Sunday. According to the latest projections, more than 300 millimeters of rain may accumulate across portions of southern Oaxaca during the next 5 to 7 days, with totals exceeding 600 millimeters. According to the American model projection, portions of southern Guatemala could receive more than 500 millimeters, much of El Salvador between 450 and 500 millimeters, and portions of western Nicaragua and Costa Rica between 150 and 200 millimeters during the next 7 days. On the other hand, areas such as Jamaica and western Cuba could receive accumulations between 150 and 200 millimeters. Also note that the model projects rainfall across portions of southern Florida. Meanwhile, the European model run generally shows a similar scenario, with significant rainfall, particularly early next week, and rainfall totals during the next 7 days that may be near 200 to 250 millimeters across portions of Nicaragua, southern Honduras, El Salvador, southern Guatemala, Chiapas, and Oaxaca. However, in this case, the European model projects the highest accumulations of more than 350 millimeters across portions of southern and western Nicaragua and regions of northern Costa Rica. And like the American model, it projects rainfall accumulations of more than 100 millimeters across much of western Cuba and portions of the Gulf. This heavy rainfall event is also due to sea surface temperatures west and south of Central America being between 29 and 30 degrees Celsius, and the wind flow will transport significant moisture into the region beginning this weekend. In the latest tropical outlook from the National Hurricane Center, the probabilities of development for both low-pressure systems have increased. The first one, located south of Guerrero, now has an 80% chance of development during the next 7 days, while the area located west of Nicaragua and south of Guatemala and El Salvador now has a 70% chance of development. This is why the probabilities are high that we will see the development of 2 tropical storms. However, as I mentioned yesterday, there remains considerable uncertainty regarding the possible tracks of these 2 disturbances. To a large extent, this is because the Central American Gyre greatly complicates the future track and behavior of these low-pressure systems. In general, I can tell you that areas from Nicaragua to the states of Guerrero and Michoacán should closely monitor the evolution of the forecasts, because at this time it is difficult to know exactly which areas could experience the impacts of a tropical cyclone. In the case of the American model ensemble members, note that some of them also show a low-pressure system moving from the western Caribbean Sea toward the north, and perhaps encountering marginally favorable conditions for development in the northeastern Gulf. On the other hand, The European model ensemble also shows significant uncertainty regarding the low-pressure systems located in the eastern Pacific, and today we see more members showing the potential for development in the northern and northeastern Gulf waters as well. In addition, the ensemble members of Google's artificial intelligence model also show the development of 2 cyclones in the eastern Pacific with considerable track uncertainty, and some members are already beginning to show the potential development of a strong low-pressure system in the Gulf. We see the same thing in the other version of the Google model. Specifically, note that more members develop perhaps a tropical storm by the middle of next week, also in the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. And this means that the southern states of the United States should also monitor the evolution of these projections. Finally, let's look at the latest runs of the operational models. Here we have the American model run. Between Saturday and Sunday, it develops 2 tropical depressions in the eastern Pacific. One of them moves into portions of southern Guatemala during the morning hours of Monday, and the other moves erratically toward the north and northwest, perhaps affecting portions of Chiapas, Oaxaca, and Guerrero between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. Meanwhile, farther out in time, in about 7 to 8 days, it also develops a strong low-pressure system, perhaps a tropical cyclone, south of Mississippi and Alabama. In the case of the European model run, it generally shows a very similar scenario. In this case, one of the low-pressure systems affects northern Costa Rica and southern Nicaragua between Monday and Tuesday, and the other moves across portions of Guerrero and Michoacán between Tuesday and Wednesday. In addition, like the American model, at a much longer range it also develops a low-pressure system in Gulf waters, which increases the chances that we could also see a low-pressure system here with development potential. Finally, the latest run of the German model also shows 2 cyclones forming in the Pacific. The first maintains a slow track very close to the coast of El Salvador and southern Guatemala. Well, that is all for this forecast update. As part of this special coverage, I will continue recording at least 1 video per day to keep you informed. So I ask that you share this video with acquaintances, friends, or family members so they can stay informed about the heavy rainfall event expected across portions of southern Mexico and Central America. Before I go, I would like to ask you to give this video a like. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you receive notifications whenever I record new videos. I hope everyone has an excellent afternoon and evening. Goodbye.